Go ahead, Rob.
All right, good evening. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting will be recorded and can be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel, https://www.youtube.com/user/Lunenburg Access/videos within 24 hours of the meeting. This public meeting is being conducted remotely. The following information is also provided for members of the public that would like to participate in the meeting remotely. To participate remotely from a computer, please use this link to join the public meeting webinar. https://us02web.zoom.us/j/76631676007, or from a telephone, dial the toll-free number 888-475-4499 and enter webinar ID number 766-316-7607. If you have not registered with Zoom, you will be asked for your name and email address. Note that no participant ID is needed. Just press pound hashtag when asked. Telephone users may dial *9 to request to speak after joining the meeting. Computer and app users may use the raise hand feature to request to speak.
Right, and then as a preliminary matter, usually Dave would now do a roll call. So I'll do the roll call to confirm all members and persons anticipated in the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Mike Knoll,
Yes.
Mike DeVakis,
Yes.
John Reynolds is not here yet, and Brett Ramsden is going to miss this meeting, and Dave McDonald.
Here. Here.
And then we have Rob Oliver.
Here.
We got to give us our intro, Jane Ranley, who's on mute, who's our minutes woman, and then Barb LaFave. So all present and accounted for except for John and Brett. I did not bring up my little flag. Does anybody have a little flag? You just want to say the pledge?
That's all. Yeah, that's okay, Bob. We can just do the pledge.
Okay.
Okay, so Mike, no, why don't you start it off?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Allegiance to the flag.
The United States of America.
to the
It's a little delay.
Stands
One
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty.
liberty,
Justice.
justice for all.
for all.
Okay,
Alrighty.
like I said, Bob, I'm traveling right now. I should be home online in about 10 minutes, but I lose the quorum, but I also know John Reynolds should be on any minute. But if I do lose you, don't hang up and I'll be back in quorum. So our first item on the agenda tonight is, what do you got, Bob? Announcements?
Oh, public comment.
Okay, is there any public comment from the public? Seeing none, any public comment from the board? Mike? No?
Nope, all good.
Mikey D?
Nope, all good.
And Rob, you have any public comment?
I have none.
Barb?
I don't. John Reynolds is just about to join us.
Okay, and none from me. Let me know when John's on board.
Okay.
This is a good experiment. There's no reason why anybody can miss a Zoom meeting. I can travel around and do it by phone. I shouldn't be saying that, huh?
Hey, everyone.
Hi, John.
Hey, John.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good.
All right. John, do you have anything for public comment?
Nothing I can say on TV.
Okay.
No, I don't.
John, I was just telling Bob and the guys, I'm traveling. I'll be home in less than 10 minutes, and I'm going to switch from my car to the house. So if you lose me, you still have a quorum. So if you could take over from here, I'd appreciate that. And I'll stay on the line as long as I can without losing you.
Has the meeting been officially started?
They were at public comment on the agenda. Yes,
Public comment.
Yeah,
Looks
we're
like
up
there
to-
is no public here. Any comment from the sewer commission?
No,
None.
we went through that. All good. Yep.
Okay, okay. Any announcements? I'm not aware of any. Barbara, I don't think there are any.
I have none.
Okay. Oh, the first item, the draft sewer budget. Did everyone get a copy, the updated copy from Barbara?
Yes.
Does
Well, I'm
everyone have-
assuming the one from Friday was, well, Thursday or Friday is the updated one, correct?
I thought I put out a new one yesterday. The only change that might have occurred is, I believe possibly the CTE, the Al Packard line may have changed.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't remember what else. I just know I made copies. Rob, do you remember a difference?
Of any changes in the draft?
Yeah,
Well-
No.
Any changes that might have been made that the commissioners don't have a copy of, that's all. I just want to make sure we're all working off the same document.
yeah. Sorry, just check your purchase of services totals for FY '23. I have 206,114.
Okay.
Bob, can you excuse me for 1 second? Can you hear me, Bob?
Yes, I can.
Guys, the question I got for you is, as we know, we're getting into the budget season. I know Barbara's not feeling really too good tonight, and I was wondering if we could table the budget until next Tuesday and have a meeting next Tuesday to talk about nothing but the budget, so we can get this done and have full concentration on it. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Mike?
I won't be here next, well, actually, no, I will be here next Tuesday. Yeah, that I know of, I'm
We
good
really-
with that, yeah.
We really got to nail down the budget, and I know I really like to review it a little bit more. Has everyone really reviewed the budget? I really want Brett's input in on it too. So my recommendation would be to hold off. Mikey D, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we should try to get the whole sewer commission together if we're gonna review this.
But if we do it Tuesday night, Barb, that would work for you?
I was not going to be here, but I haven't paid my money yet, so I can do that. I could do it. I can't do it Wednesday night either. And I
Or
don't want to do it
Monday's
Monday.
Monday's Valentine's Day. Monday's Valentine's Day.
Right.
Right. Can we do it following like Thursday, or is that too late?
Barb? Barb?
Well, we have to post if we're gonna, oh, no. Yeah, February, we'd be meeting the following Tuesday. I mean, we could still post the agenda, but it might be too close to post any changes. I could do it Thursday. Let's stick with Tuesday, that's fine. Rob, are you good?
Yeah, that actually works for me, because if it went out to the following week, I'm not going to be here that week. So next week would be better for me anyway.
I just think it's important enough that we all concentrate on it and talking on the same page. And Barbara, I just looked at the one that we had last week, and I know a revision came out. So I would like to have some sort of John, what do you think before I go into that? You there, John?
Oh, I think John had, oh, there he is. Hold on, let me admit him. Sorry. He fell away.
John, you
There he
there?
is. You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened. Did you make any progress in the last 2 minutes?
Yeah, we're just waiting to put a motion out there to have a budget meeting next Tuesday, probably same time, or if somebody wants to do a 5, I don't care. But do nothing but the budget, so we can move on with the other stuff. We have a lot on the agenda here.
Right, all right. If you're looking for a motion, I would say, so motion.
Okay, roll call vote, Mike,
Yes,
Yes,
and then I for myself. So Bob, let's plan on that. Hopefully you'll feel better, Bob.
I vote Mike.
That'd be an aye for me also.
Oh, okay, sorry. I just assumed you were there. You did the motion.
Okay,
Okay, so Bob, let's table the budget and let's move on. John, just so you know, we have to try to get Rob out of here because he has an important meeting with the Board of Selectmen tonight.
okay.
So next item.
All right, the next one is ARPA. I don't know if Rob had input from his meeting with the consultant. I know you all received the presentation from their talk at the Board of Selectmen Select Board meeting. So
Rob, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so, and stop me if I've already told the commission this, what I got out of the presentation from the consultant was that the restrictions on what the funds can be spent on are not such that most anything the sewer commission would want to undertake couldn't be used, say, out of, they're calling it like a general fund for our use. It originally seemed like the projects would be limited to things, not necessarily sewage collection, but more wastewater treatment type projects where, of course, we don't have wastewater treatment. But what has come of the latest round of guidance on the ARPA is that the town gets a certain percentage of what they're getting that can be, general use. So most projects would qualify. So some of the limitations I thought we might otherwise have may or may not be there, depending on if we can use funds out of, the general use. That doesn't mean that if it's an SRF project, we look to do, say, if the pump stations can be an SRF project, that it couldn't be funded that way under ARPA. But for the most part, it seems like the funds will be easier to use than I'd originally thought. And that was my biggest take out of that session. So I don't know if any of you folks watched what was presented to the selectmen, if you heard anything different or kind of confirmed. I'd asked a lot of questions on the funding. So that's why that came about.
I did watch the meeting, and the way I took it too, not only can we do something with the pump stations, but we should prioritize as a committee what we're looking to do. And the other thing, Rob, is I think what we can do is maybe look at the I&I in the Whalum area. If I'm not mistaken, the way I understand it, that they could help us with that as well.
Yeah, and that actually kind of not changing gears on what we're talking about, but Barb and I did sit down with Jake Fleming from Leominster to talk about what they've got going on, what they're using their ARPA money on, or what kind of sewer projects they have. It seems like most of what they're looking to spend their ARPA money on is towards water infrastructure, not sewer. But he did mention that they will be doing some sewer metering, sewer flow study, and, excuse me, trying to track down some of their own I&I. So we discussed, possibly jointly looking at trying to do some more work in the Whalum area and flows that go to them with I&I and possibly, so that's something they're looking at. It's not necessarily ARPA funds, so I didn't want to change kind of gears on that, but just so you know, that was, and actually might be later on the agenda, so I'm sorry if I'm jumping around. But yeah, I mean, we could come up with a list of things and prioritize what the commission, wants to try and get accomplished, and that could certainly be one of them. Dave, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm transferring from the car up to my office. So if you guys can give me a couple minutes, I'll hook in.
Hey, Rob, real quickly, I mean, you've been here for a while now. Do you have any thoughts as to whether a good part of our I&I issues are coming from the Whalum area? I mean, I know you've read some of the reports and the studies, and what's your gut feel?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, based on the reports, we have, a lot of old services in the Whalum area. Granted, the sewer mains are newish. So my sense is that, yeah, some of those services, other than the ones we tried to address on Elizabeth Street, I know they haven't specifically been found. Some additional flow study might help with that. And that's kind of what we talked about with Leominster when we met with them. Outside of that, from my own perspective, the system is, it's still young. It's a child in terms of age, compared to other sewers. There may be random spots where, perhaps we have some leaky joints or something that just haven't been identified. But even then, I don't think those would be major contributors. And in all, as a system, our I&I doesn't raise a lot of eyebrows with DEP. We kind of fall under what they see as, kind of actionable amounts of I&I. So, yeah, so I think I'd venture to say most of what we see, or a good percentage of it, is from that area.
Okay. So, if everyone could still consider any potential projects, keep Barb and Rob updated with projects you might like to see some of this money spent on. Is that a yay or a nay?
Give it a yay. How's that?
Okay, sounds good.
And I think we just lost John again.
Uh-oh.
So. And Dave is probably in transit. Yeah.
I'm almost there, guys. I'm surprised I didn't lose you.
Strong Wi-Fi. I also just, while Dave's getting set up, I did talk with or exchange emails with Paul Casey at Flow Assessment. David brought up whether we had the best equipment in the meter pits, and Paul Casey responded that all the equipment has been updated. And he was going to send me a cut sheet. I have not yet received it, but he believes that we've got good equipment in the meter pits. So that's not one area that we'll need. As far as any investment with ARPA.
And to add to that, sorry, Mike,
Okay.
they also committed to, what, Barb, if correct me if I'm wrong, another year of leasing at the same price that we're currently at.
Yes. Yep, leasing and the maintenance and calibration. So we're good for another year with Flow Assessment without having to take it out to bid, which is great. They've maintained the same price almost from day one, I think, with my pleading to stay under 10,000 to avoid having to go up for bid. So They've been good. They've been responsive to any issues we've had with any readings or when meters go down, they're right on they're on the job quickly. So can't say anything against them at all. I don't know what happened to John? He's not coming back. All right, without John and without Dave, I don't know, Dave, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, John Reynolds.
Can you hear
John
me?
is trying to reconnect, had to use an antique computer tonight for the meeting, so he's trying.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes,
We got you.
Get it on the computer now.
join with video,
I'm sorry?
join with video, so we can see your lovely face.
Oh, but I'm on my phone. I'm trying to hook up the.
Oh, sorry.
But you know what? I'm hitting the link. It's not taking it. I think John's having problems on his computer too, right?
It may not let you log on because you're already logged in on your phone.
Yeah, no, I've done this before. It should take me on. I'll just go to the town webpage. But go ahead. Oh, you can't. Oh, no, go ahead, Bob. We can keep on going.
Well, the next item is the policies for review, so the
Okay,
more the
then-
merrier on that one,
Are we all
Unless-
done about,
unless you have more to say on the ARPA.
yeah, is there any more questions on that? Yeah. Anybody have any other ideas now, or do you want to think about it? But what's the deadline?
I think Rob clarified it pretty good, so it's just a matter of coming up with what we feel is the most urgent.
Bob, what-
Sorry, Dave, I'm just gonna add in that since we have Kevin Olson at Wright Pierce doing some work for us coming up, I'm gonna talk to him, maybe pick his ear a little bit about, our system. With my concern about the pump stations, is it time to be starting to do some upgrades and rehab and maybe get us some ideas from him. And maybe hopefully willing to help out a little bit and give me some guidance.
Okay. Oh, I guess the question I got is there a deadline?
There are deadlines, and I don't know what they are off the top of my head. 2024, I believe, is to come up with projects, and 2026 to have the money spent. But that in vague, broad terms.
Okay. Did you see me trying to get in?
Excuse me,
You see me trying to get in?
who? Oh, see you, yes, I'm sorry.
Recording in progress.
There you are. You're on mute.
Sorry about that, guys. Hey, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, Dave.
Okay,
So
Okay,
I switched computers, so I don't think I'll be dropping out anymore, so.
okay. Let me just get my agenda going. It's a lot better to read it now than it was in the truck. All right, so where are we, Bob? We're on policies and procedures?
Yep.
Okay,
As long
so
as you're all set with ARPA.
what we're gonna do is, as you know, we got town meeting coming up and we have some opportunity to fix some of our items on the sewer commission as far as policies and procedures. So tonight, just want to go through and get your feedback on what we have here. I'm not looking to change the world tonight, but what's the deadline on this, Barb?
I have to, I will talk to council on the, I think it's the 24th. We have to have our warrant articles in by the 1st of March. And I think we need to specifically name any policies that we are updating. But a lot of them are just included under the umbrella of sewer use regs, so. The wording, so we have a while, it really is the articles to be determined by the March 21st, and then we need to have a couple hearings in between now and the town meeting, just to verify that we've presented any policy changes for public opinion.
Okay, so what I like to do is, again, knowing that Rob is going to be leaving, we're going to take a look at that policy procedure that's on your agenda. And on that, Rob, which ones do you want to address?
Well, Barb was kind enough to put together a list of things that I've brought up to kind of throw out there for her. So I'll just kind of go through those. And so I had quite a few, actually.
Rob, I did not send that to everyone. Do you guys want me to share it?
Is that this sheet that you sent us?
That's
to?
the Excel where it tells what the sections are? Or is that okay?
Yeah, no, can you share
I can
this?
I can read through it. Or Barb, you can even share it on your screen if you want.
Okay.
I think on the agenda, it's not broken out, is it?
No, I had the list, and then when I realized that it was gonna be more easy if I had put it in order as they appear in either the regs or the bylaw. So this Excel sheet just runs through the same policies that I had noted, but just put them in separate order. And now,
If you want, Bob, I can go through them real quick if you want on the sheet that I got. So like the first one is DEP.
Yep.
Article 2, Section 1F.
that is just a cleanup thing that used to be a requirement. It's in our extension regulation area. And the DEP does not require becoming involved anymore. So that's just to get that out of there while
Okay,
we're.
Barb, is that on sewer extensions?
Yes,
So anything that's under 1,000 feet, though, there is a caveat there. So you can do sewer extensions up to 1,000 feet without DEP approval. You just need local approval.
Right.
Anything over 1,000, you do need DEP.
okay.
That hasn't changed then.
Well, I was
Gotcha.
thinking the DEP did not want to be involved anymore because of employee changes. So I'll verify again. I had communicated back and forth with council on this, and I can check and see exactly what he said. But I believe we were going to remove the entire thing about a DEP requirement.
You may want to double check that because we ran into that problem over at John Reynolds' project. I think we're at 997 feet, John, if you remember. That was one of the-
997 plus,
Yeah, it
less,
was,
but less than 1,000.
yeah, and that was brought up to us after a couple months worth of work, so we weren't too
Correct.
happy about that.
Right. And that is actually from that point on when I learned Pat Cotton, I think it advised me that the DEP had changed their rulings. So I believe it has changed, but I'll look back again on my paperwork.
Okay, Barb, I may be going off something old. It may have changed since I last worked with it.
Oops, you can see what I'm typing. Stop that.
So your recommendation would be to remove it if we don't have to worry about the 1,000 feet.
Yes.
Okay. Next one I got is the drain layers. Required notary stamp or on initials. There's a question mark.
Yeah, I get a lot of pushback. When someone has to apply for a drain layers license for the first year, even if they were a drain layer 2 years ago, we made it that you had to have the application notarized for every year that wasn't a renewal. And I just wondered, I don't know Rob's experience, that was on there from way back. Jack wondered about it. I've always gotten pushback from a couple of my drain layers. I just wondered, maybe Rob, if you have an opinion on whether that's necessary.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't even know what, other than a notary is acknowledging that that person signed that document in front of them. I don't see why it's necessary. I mean, we get their insurance, we get, all this other information to go along with it. I don't think we necessarily need a notary to verify this person's identity. I personally think it's overkill.
The only thing I would worry about, Rob, is even in my business, when I do contracts, I got to do on the bill, when I sign it, I still got to do a notary to make the package complete. But I know what you're saying, but I think I'd like to run that by the attorney just to double check. Anybody have any comments on that?
I agree. I'd like to just hear Adam's opinion on that. I'd like to get rid of it, but
Yeah, I would too.
I just would be a little cautious.
Okay. Prorating of bills, new owners / new construction. We talked about this a few months ago about if somebody moves into town, they pay for the sewer for the whole fiscal year. Is that right, Barb?
No, just a quarterly, the minimum charge, currently 107. Also new connections. There were no prorations allowed starting in 2010.
So I think we as a board talked, and Mike, I don't know if you were on there at the time, we talked about prorating it. So if you come in and move in on July 23rd, that's when your bill starts. Anybody have any comments about that?
As someone who's on the sewer, I would say that's fair.
Well, water right now, if you move, they give you a final water reading.
I mean, I'm sure it's more work for Barbara this way, but
It is, but it's the right thing to do, I feel.
right. I agree. I agree.
So I mean, hopefully Barbara's assistant comes on board. But to me, it's the right thing to do.
Well, I'll just chime in that we used to do it. Prior commissions decided against doing it. And I'm not really sure a whole lot, except that the administrative churn that does occur by change of ownership or new connections. And that's all. I'll just throw that out there.
Okay.
And then you also get into the, is it 2 days out of a 31-day month? Am I really gonna?
I think our sewer bill should correspond with the water bill. So if the water is shut off on 15th of the month, that's when the sewer should be shut off as well.
I can check. I don't know how the water department does it. I'll see what their minimum charge policy is.
Okay, we're not making do any votes on this tonight. We're just going through them and give everybody a chance. And Barb, if you can send the email out to everybody, that would be great. Any other comments on the prorating of the bills? Okay, I see none. Next one would be the wells. Barb,
That's
you wanna-
the fixed price that we have currently. Was determined from the beginning that the wells were a fixed amount of 1,833 cubic feet, which is about, I think it's 212 a quarter. It is cheaper than some and more than others. So it was, I believe they took an average when they first started out with the commission. We have about 9 people on wells. We just had someone complain. I've only had, and all the time I've been here, I've only had that one complaint. So, but we did have someone, and that's why it was added to the list.
Well, I know when we talked about this the first time, we had a couple, an elderly couple, if I remember right, who were having financial situation. Is that correct?
Right.
If my memory sets me straight, and that's why we kind of put this on the front burner, to be fair, not only to them, but to everybody else. So again, I'll open this up for discussion. John, do you have any comments on this?
As before, it's a tough one. How do you determine what the well water usage is? Therefore, the sewer usage. Do I want to help elderly? Yes. I really don't know any fair way to come up with a number for the usage, I would kind of be inclined to stick with what we're doing.
Well, the other thing we can do is look at it by the day. You got 365 days a year. What's the bill for the year? And do it that way. That would be another way to prorate it.
You're talking prorate?
We're not talking about prorating right now.
No, we're
No,
talking,
the price, we're talking about when to get, we're talking about the bill for the, if you're on a well, right?
Right, how do you bill for sewer if you don't know what the water consumption is the problem.
Could you take an average? So if you take like that person's house, whatever the square footage is of the house, right? And if you take a square footage of somebody's house that has town water, could you average it that way?
So to use
Not-
the Board of Health regs for septic systems, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms,
Right.
There you
size
go.
of the house, that kind of thing.
There you go.
Actually, I was just crunching some numbers on that. Title V is 110 gallons per day per bedroom of flow. So if you did an average 3-bedroom house, it's 330 gallons per day, divided by 7.48 to get you into cubic feet. So that's 44 cubic feet a day divided by 100. Divided by 100 to give you 100 cubic feet per day, then times 90 days. Yeah, that's, oh, wait a minute. We don't work in 100 cubic feet. That's actually more. In the Title V flows are a relatively high estimation. So I don't know that that's even, you end up worse off. You're going to end up charging more. I think the 1833, while it's high for some, like an elderly couple, it's, could be low for a family of 6.
I mean, I have a 3-bedroom house, but there's just 2 of us living here.
Yeah. And really the 110 gallons per day under Title V is based on 2 people per bedroom at 55 gallons a day per person. So it's not even, it doesn't really relate. It works for septic systems because you're not paying for it. Well, you are paying it when you put in your septic system, but it's an overestimation, I think, for this case.
I think the question was, do we have to do it by, and again, going back, it's the same price for everybody. Is that right, Bob?
yes. Yep.
So I guess the question that I have is that if you've got a 6-family or a 6-bedroom house, you're paying the same thing as those 2 people who have a 1-bedroom house. That's what I'm saying. So maybe we should look at it by bedroom more than anything else.
Right. Well,
I mean, again, no decisions tonight, but I think whatever we do as a committee, I like to address it and put it to bed. But you want to be fair too. And like I said, if I had a 6-family with 20 kids in there versus an elderly couple, I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, except as I said before, it's a tough one because every house that's on a well could be a unique situation. And how do you come up with one pricing system for that? It's tough.
Well, that's where all the brain power that we have in this room will sit down and come up with a formula. I'm sure we can figure something out. It is a mathematical problem more than anything else. Or we can just leave it the way it is.
Well, it's not really a mathematical problem. It's more of a,
Well, it is. If you go by bedroom, that's a mathematical problem. You figure out how
yeah,
much.
if you go by bedroom. But then you bring up the elderly couple, and yes, there's sympathy there, but if you had an elderly couple that has a 4-bedroom house, what do you do?
It's easier to defend to say, if you have that same elderly couple that comes to you and say, how come I'm paying the same price as a 6-family house or a 6-bedroom house? So, I mean, if you have a policy that outlines it, it's how much a bedroom. I mean, it could be $10 a bedroom, or it could be $100 a bedroom. But at least it's a chart that goes with the price of the house.
Right. You get it like a baseline. You get like, here's your average. And then you can go up or down according to bedrooms, or you can go up or down according to what you think usage would be But as long as you establish a baseline, you can go off of that
Yeah.
average.
Could we go by the census, how many people are living there? Because, I mean, you still get the scenario, you got a 6-bedroom house, but there's only 2 people living there. So, you know, and they happen to be elderly or whatever, I mean, that's the,
Well,
you know, if we could go off the town, I don't know how hard it
But
would
I
be
guess-
just go off the census and see how many
Yeah.
people are living in the house. And then come up
My
with
only
either
question there
2 or
would be
3
how-
rates.
how accurate is the census is only as
Oh,
accurate
they're
as
perfect.
how it's filled out. So.
No, I
um,
And
get
then
it.
you have an awful lot of people moving back into their parents' homes or grandparents' homes. You'd have to
True.
be, to me, you'd have to be tracking like, okay, I don't know, it's hard. But you
So it
can't
sounds like-
account for guests.
Sounds like the solution is leave it the way it is.
No, I don't think it is. I think we made a promise back.
Well, we can
this
talk
came-
about it. Yeah, we can talk about it. But
And
I just,
I mean, the easiest thing is to keep it the way it is, but that's not the right thing to do. I
Well,
think-
you know, it's as the sewer commission, we always try to be consistent. Yet, as I've heard a few times from our council, that the sewer commission is not a precedent-setting board, so, you know, we do have flexibility. So,
Yeah, we do. My recommendation is you guys think on it, see what you think, and next meeting that we talk about these, we'll bring it up. But it's got to be addressed. And like I say, the easiest thing is to keep it the way it is. But the right thing is to sit back and give it some thought and then come up with a decision. So any more questions on the well? Because I'd like to get Rob. I know you're getting kind of close, Rob. I don't have a clock here. You want to go down right to what you're talking about, Rob?
Yeah, so let's hit mine. So the next one on there has to do with the connection policy and more specific, the reconnection policy. So currently we charge $1,000 to reconnect to an existing service or I guess even laying a new service for a property that was previously sewered. Yeah, right there. I think I don't know where that came from. It seems kind of arbitrary, but for me, I mean, really all that goes into it is some administrative work for Barb and, you know, an inspection on my behalf to see the work. So I think charging for a property that's already paid a connection fee, I think it's fair to just charge them for, say, that the work that's being done at that time, which is merely administrative and an inspection. So, you know, some reduction. I said 35 or 50. I even think 50 to 100, you know, would be, you know, kind of you could easily justify that. But the 1,000 seems arbitrary to me.
And
well, look, I think Rob and Barbara's time is worth at least 100, so. But yes,
I agree. with-
1,000 is high.
I agree with that. Mike, no, what do you think?
I agree. I mean, how many times a year are we really running into that? Right, when it's not like
Maybe a couple times this year, Barb.
right,
Yeah, actually hardly any recently. It's more usually when the trailer park has a lot of motion is when it really occurs. Or you have somebody whose house burns down. But not often.
How often does that happen?
Too often
yeah,
if you ask
John.
them.
Once in a lifetime.
This is where we put a picture of John up. Mike Devakis, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the $1,000 fee is too high, and I think the $100 fee would work well.
I agree. Barb, you want a motion for that? Let's put that one to bed.
Sure.
Okay, can someone make
I
a
make a
motion?
motion that we change the reconnection fee from $1,000 to $100.
Looking for a second?
I second it.
Any discussion? Rob, you have any last minute words before we make the vote?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor? Mike Knopf,
I,
John Reynolds,
Aye.
Mike Devakis,
Aye.
and I for myself. The other one, Rob, what do you got?
If you skip down to the next Rob items, there's Well, the first one, bonds process currently only require performance bonds with a road opening or drain layer license, right? Barb, I don't remember exactly what this was about.
It was just, every drain layer that comes in mentions like, oh, you don't do bonds? And I'm like, and we're, nope. And it seems as if other towns do. So I'm just trying to make sure
Right.
that we are doing what, I don't know what I just did to that. We're doing what we need to do.
Because I think we had talked about even like a cash surety type bond where, you know, they post $5,000 and it goes into account and held. So I know some other towns do some different things. I don't have any great information for you on that at the moment because I never went back to it. I will for the next time we talk about it. So I kindly ask to kind of skip over that for now till I have more information for you.
One question.
Can I, oh, go ahead.
When you put a bond up, I think, and maybe Mike, did you get your pipe fixed in front of your building, Mike?
No, actually tomorrow's the big day supposedly, but that's water, and Fitchburg does require you have to be bonded to do it.
Yeah, I think the reason for the bond, and maybe it's because of Lunenburg, but it's if they hurt anything of the infrastructure in town. I think that's why the bond is there. But it's something to look at, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's only a one-time fee too, right? So if you're a construction company or an excavating company, you just pay the one-time bond, right? You don't pay it per job.
Well, a
thought-
lot of the drain layers have to leave, I think with Fitchburg, possibly even $5,000 basically on account. If you want to be a licensed drain layer in Fitchburg, you just give them your 5,000, and until you don't want to be a drain layer, you don't get it back.
Right.
So I agree with Rob, let's look at it, but I think the bond is there for a protection to the town, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yep. No, and I'm not looking to get rid of it. I'm just trying to maybe offer another option to some contractors question it. And so again, I'll have more information for you, Barb. We can talk about that some more.
Just, yeah, real quickly, I think some kind of bond probably is important because when the extension was being laid here on Lancaster Ave, the company hit the water line. And, it was many hours to fix that. So I think there has to be something. But anyway.
The next items, there's 3 of them and they all kind of go together. They just relate to kind of construction material sizes, kind of minimum requirements for construction of a service. We don't really spell it out too detailed anywhere. There's mentions of it here and there. So my thoughts here had been to offer some more information to, say, an engineer is coming into town, is going to design a house lot for somebody and, is calling out a sewer service, is what size pipe, the slope. And so I guess that pipe sizes and slope are kind of the same item. So again, my thoughts on that, minimum pipe size should be a 6-inch service, a minimum slope of 2%. We don't necessarily call it out anywhere. And it's, I usually have to comment on somebody's plan that you need to do this. And I'd rather get it in there and have it in writing. So that's, again, I can provide more for the next conversation on that, but that's really all that is.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. That's good.
Yeah, I support doing that.
Barb, and the next one, the service versus extension, is that just language we need to clean up?
Yeah, and I apologize to Rob. I kind of blindsided him. This is all, when subjects come up, I kind of just throw them in this one folder of possible policy changes. So Rob and I had a conversation a ways back, our terminology in our policies and, the pipes and the slope. So I kind of just threw this at him tonight. The service versus extension was, yes, the use of our term, and you're not particularly fond of the way we refer to certain things. So if this is the time, if we, as DPW director, to change them up, we can change it up.
Okay. Yeah, and no, and I thank you for keeping this list actually, because I'm not good at lists. And so every time I say something, you write it down. So that's good. Yeah, so if that's just a cleanup or a term or definition, we'll look at it, but again, now's the time. And then that last item right there, you can see on the list, Sewer Commission waiver. So what had happened was Barb was going through the changes to the bylaw with the Fitchburg language. And from back in 2018, Mr. Costa had recommended a waiver, a paragraph about the Sewer Commission granting waivers, hearing and granting waivers. Currently, there's nothing in the bylaw that allows that. So when I read the paragraph that he had provided, I think I said to Barb that I like it because it's not in there now, and it just allows the commission to provide some flexibility in cases where they feel it's necessary to waive any portion of the bylaw. So I know, Barb, had you shared that with the commission?
This has a little more history. We had actually discussed it a ways back in 2018, and Adam Costa had provided the terminology, the wording for us. It was discussed. The commission at the time decided not to do it. And both you and council have, in past conversations in the last year or so, brought up the fact that there should be something in our regs that allows, or bylaw regs, that allows the commission to make an exception, and after prolonged study, but that you should have the power, or the commission should have the power. So I put it back in. We still have the wording from council if we wanted it. It just needs to be reviewed again, but with both a new DPW director and council saying we should have something in there, I thought it was worth looking at again.
And this isn't directed at any one thing in particular, but in general. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, council has said usually the commission does have some discretion in certain instances, and the way our regs are written, we do not. So
Thanks for bringing it up. Let's do that. Rob, what's the next one you got?
Barb, can you scroll down for me? Actually,
easements.
oh gosh, yeah. So we've talked about easements in the past. Obviously, now's the time if you want to provide some relief via easements. For me, in my history, kind of in this business, when you have a home that needs sewer and can't do a new septic system due to limitations on their property, where sewer might otherwise be available, 100 feet down the road, but they need to cross their neighbor's property to get to it. An easement to me seems like a very minor compromise to get that person connected to sewer when they need it, and save a lot of, money, headache, heartburn, over owning that property that can't have sewer or needs a tight tank or, so I know in the past, the commission had kind of did not want to allow easements, and there was a reason to it. Mostly, I believe that reason was to prevent some forms of development that might use an easement to put in sewer and develop a large property, or, whatever it might have been at the time. If the commission's kind of uncomfortable with opening the town up to that, I understand that, but I do think for the instance where a homeowner needs sewer and the way to get to it is with an easement without, with some limitations, I think you could do it to kind of, help that homeowner out while, still not opening up huge chunks of land to development because they can get an easement for sewer. So I think you got to word it carefully if that's what you want, or if you want to, allow easements on a case-by-case basis. However you do it, at least for me, if you did it for Title V failures, where they'd otherwise need a tight tank and sewers available by an easement, then by all means, I think you should have that ability to grant that.
You know, two things I just want to make a quick note on, and I agree with what you're saying. And I would probably make it out as a hardship case, if someone has a hardship case. And again, you could talk to the attorneys on that one, Barb. And a hardship would be classified as what we just talked about, Rob. But that brings another question I have is, we had a customer online paying their betterment for 16 years and found out that they can't bring sewer. In a way, it is in Lunenburg, with this easement thing, would we be able to allow that person to have sewer? That's a question that I have.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna depend on how you word it. If it's due to a hardship, you know, maybe you have to define hardship and include, you know, a formerly, you know, a property that was formerly bettered, but was not able to connect. I mean, that could be deemed a hardship, I guess. You know, again, if the goal is to just allow anybody to use an easement, then yeah, you may be opening yourself up to some unintended consequences. But if you're clear on when you're allowing them, and if it's primarily by a hardship, I guess one thing that comes into mind is the project recently that came to the town, where out on Mass Ave and Chestnut, where the whole site's ledge, so they can't get in any septic system. Would that be then deemed a hardship where you can get them an easement, but is the easement for a single home, or is it for, you know, 80 condominiums? So again, you just have to choose your words carefully.
Any comment from the boards on that?
I think it should be a case-by-case basis. John?
I agree. I agree.
Mike?
Yes, I agree also, case by case.
I think we gotta, again, Barbara, bring that to Adam and see what his thoughts are on it too. But I think we have a consensus from the board that we would allow easements on a case-by-case hardship situation. And Rob, you bring up a good point, because there's a lot of developments going on in town too. And again, we can't say yes or no, that's not our position, but if we have a tool to make it easier for development, we gotta watch how we use that as well. The double-edged sword, I guess. But I'm in favor of it. Anyways, Rob, what else you got?
Barb,
It was only the bond thing, and we just need to identify. In the bylaw, it just mentions that people have to post bonds, but we just have to be more specific somewhere where bonds are described.
Okay. What's the next one? SSA expansion clarification questions from Paula.
Yeah, that's not Rob, I don't think, is it?
no.
No, I think this was just, oh, well.
Do you have any more
Yeah.
questions on these, Rob, or comments before you go?
Rob.
I don't have anything else on there, and Barb's pretty thorough on our conversations in the past about the regs. So I think that covers everything I've brought up.
Okay. So if anybody have any questions for Rob? Rob, I know, what time you gotta be at your meeting?
Well, the meeting's at 7. Mine's not on the agenda till somewhat later, so I can give you a little bit more time.
Okay. So Bob, let's go back up to the top.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
we
DP,
stopped at the, did we do the deduct meter?
Deduct meter, I just need, we have uncovered something that was not spelled out, that we want our meters in cubic feet. It has become an issue. It needs to be defined. So there's no question as to what we need.
Okay.
That's a small.
Connection policy, we voted on that. The grease trap policy. Go ahead. Who wants to take this one on? I think we're talking about the annual fees. We brought this up once before. How are we doing on the collections of the grease trap policy, Barb? Or the collections of the money on the grease traps?
We don't collect any money. We've waived it. And that's a question for the FY23 budget, whether we will.
Let me rephrase it. How we doing on the paperwork for the grease trap policy?
I don't understand your, oh, you mean on the logs?
Yes.
Very well. I have one issue later on the agenda. The pump out has occurred. It's just paperwork I'm waiting on, but otherwise mostly people are working very hard at compliance.
But
Just
Barb,
pepper them with either emails or phone calls and they get me what I want.
let me ask you a question, Barb. When I first joined the sewer commission, that was not the case. So what made it different?
Me peppering them with emails and
Okay.
phone
So that's administrative time.
Yes,
Correct.
and we also have, we have started non-compliance processing, and that's what I'm proposing with A&D Crossroads later on this meeting. So there is a non-compliance process, and they pay more when they have been non-compliant throughout the year.
I do not want to burden, the restaurants and towns, but I don't want to get back to where we were umpteen years ago either.
John, I think you weren't on the committee when we first started the grease trap policy, and I remember helping draft the policy. And one of the things that we had people conforming to it at first, and then it started going down. People weren't conspiring. In fact, Bob, I don't know if you remember how many people I went and talked to them about complying with the grease trap, because it was new to the town at the time. And I think we're talking 2012, 2014, Bob. I forgot when we said.
Yeah, approximately.
So anyways, what happened was as time went on, you had new people taking over restaurants. You had people who tried to sneak by us, blah, blah, blah. And I know your commission at the time was spending money on companies to go in and inspect the grease traps because they weren't being done. And I think the commission at the time said, you know what, we're paying money for this, so we should charge the proprietor a fee for doing that. If I'm not mistaken, Bob, let me know if I'm wrong. But on the other hand, I'm talking with people and, I go to some of the establishments in town and they pay their bills, they pay their fees. And I just think that's part of, if someone's not in compliance, they should get fined. They should be told that. But to have a fee put on for people doing good is not right. And that's what I talked about before. But I also understand that Barbara's time is money. But in business, when you send out a bill, they don't pay it, you have to send another bill. That's taking up time. So I think that's where we look to send them a bill for that service. I think over the years, between education, the way we've been talking, I know when I go out and talk to people, I talk about the policies and stuff. I think most of you guys might even do that. I think the only fair thing to do is really look at this and why are we hurting people who are in compliant? It just doesn't, it blows my mind a little bit. That's all.
Dave, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. But also, I think the sewer commission has tended to be forgiving over the years when fines are levied. So we need to keep that in mind too.
I think some of the situations that I've been involved with, we'll listen to everybody in their story, but I also remember giving them one of the largest fines we ever did on, and Jack and I had a big discussion about that, about an illegal connection. So there's questions, there's misunderstandings, but this one here is, to me, is basic business. And again, I John, I think you've been on the board longer than I have. You've seen.
I don't think so.
Well, between on and off, but let's get some other people involved. Mike, no, what's your ideas?
I think, well, I was pretty much here at the beginning of all this, and we had very slim participation. And you remember we went and visited them all and inspected and see what was going on, made them aware of it. Obviously, you fast forward, we're doing something right to get everything going normal again, getting, everybody's on. So I guess I have no problem if we want to look at the fee and adjust it, but the whole way this came about was to get everybody in compliance and everybody sticking with it, and it seems to have worked. That's and I get the hardship part, so I have no problem looking at the fees and rethinking them, but I wouldn't want to see them go away, because I think all of a sudden we'd be right back where we were.
I have no problem at all, none. If we have to send a crew out to inspect a grease trap at XYZ Main Street, I have no qualm at all about charging them if they're not in compliance. But I do have a problem charging XYZ on Lancaster Ave, who's been doing their job all the time, and we're penalizing them. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But let's be clear: if you're in violation, we have to take it seriously, especially when it comes to grease. I mean, I was in Shrewsbury. I worked for the Board of Health in Shrewsbury doing grease inspections, and we caught person baking grease and dumping it down the sewer drain out in the back of the store, and they got fined $10,000. And you know what? I didn't blink an eyelash. And they looked at me and says, "Who are you?" I says, "Hey, I'm nobody, but let me call the Board of Health and see what they say." They shut them down right then and there. So I take it seriously. I mean, I know all you guys do too, but business is business, and that's what you got to look at as a big package. And like I said, I have no problem wavering this, but let it be known that if you're in violation, you're going to get and maybe we can double the fees if you're in violation. But like you said, Mike, everyone's been in line over the last few years, and it's because of education. It becomes a norm for people. It's very tough to run a restaurant with all these different policies you have out there. And I'm still trying to figure out what the Board of Health does in this town and who does it, who does the inspections. It should be, in most towns, it's Board of Health. And it may not be Lunenburg's Board of Health, but we're thinking the Chopin's Board of Health. Maybe we should have a talk with Jim Griffith.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to change, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, but that was, you don't want to pass the buck, but
Right.
someone has to be responsible. And we're trying to tell the proprietors that they're responsible for it. And
Yeah, Dave, I'm on the same page with you. I don't want to punish people who use grease traps, punish them, assuming they're going to be doing something wrong. So yeah, I'm more than happy to look at this and reduce the fees, but you just have to make sure everyone stays in compliance. If not, a penalty. So
now, keep in mind, I'm from the old school. If someone wasn't paying or someone's in compliance, I would go down there and talk to them in person. And in fact, Mike Knoll and I have been doing that a lot back in the old days. Sometimes a personal phone call or a visit helps a lot. But anyways, that's my recommendation. Mike Devakis, what do you think?
I mean, I agree with everything that Mike has said, John said, and that you said, Dave. Again, it's if you're in compliance, then fine. We're not going to fine you. Everything is going to be great, and we're going to move on. But if you're not following the rules and regulations, there's penalties and fines for that. I mean, it's that black and white. It's that simple.
It really is. Thank you, Barb. What's your feeling on it?
be honest, Barb.
No, I like the halfway point, and actually the draft budget reflects charging those accounts that were non-compliant, or it's as of right now that for this year that they are non-compliant, so they would receive the non-compliant fee. So I have notes that it's $36.50 on that line for revenue if we were to charge annual fees this year. And if we had done it for all of them, it was going to be $59.50. So that's, I guess, me putting out what I would vote for, that if you're non-compliant, then you are charged the annual fee for non-compliant accounts. And if you're not, I didn't put anything in there for compliant accounts.
So I guess the question would be, what would that fee be? Would that fee be what it is today, or you want to go higher with it? Barb?
I don't understand.
So if you're non-compliant, how much would you have to pay?
I think it's different. We have it in the grease trap regs. If it's if you've got an internal trap, no, I don't have it in front of me.
That's right.
Is it $250? And then if it's a external trap, it's, I think, $650.
Okay, and then if it comes in the second time, we send a person out to do a grease trap inspection. We would charge them for that.
We don't have anything in our grease trap regs about charging someone for inspections. We had upped the annual permit fees to cover those inspections. So if that's something you would like to do, we need to get that written into the regs.
Okay, what's your guys' opinion on that? We'll start with Mike.
I think there needs to be a charge if we need to go out and do an inspection. I mean, everybody's time is worth something, and if you're not, again, if you're not complying with the rules and regulations, there's a penalty for it.
John?
A big ditto.
Mike?
No, I agree also. I mean, obviously, if it gets to the point that we gotta go out there, there's something's going on.
Rob, any of your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my thinking is in line with yours, is that, why penalize someone who's, doing what they're supposed to do? Go after those for non-compliance, and, maybe some language about, if an inspection is deemed necessary by the commission, that the owner is responsible for those charges, reasonable charges or something, to recoup the cost of an inspection.
So Bob, why don't you do us a favor? And again, I don't want to take a vote on this tonight, but maybe write something up and run it by Adam. You okay? That's okay. You okay then?
Barb, I hope you're taking the day off tomorrow.
Your face is turning red here.
I can listen, I just can't talk. Sorry.
Okay, no, that's okay. All right, but did you hear what we said? Can you write
I
it?
did hear
Okay,
My question is, who's inspecting? Like, is it going to be internal? How do we figure out a charge?
you would call our maintenance management that we're using now, the company, and ask them what they would charge.
If they would. I'm
yeah,
not
if they
sure CTE is this, I don't know if,
well, let's find out. If not, we'll just call a grease trap company to go in and do it.
okay.
Or a plumber, if a plumber wants to make some money, they can do it too. I mean, grease traps are pretty easy to inspect, so.
Yeah, it probably should just be identified as someone designated by the sewer commission.
Yeah,
Yeah, and honestly, I'm familiar with grease traps. That's something I could do, at least on the exterior traps. So, I mean, it could start with me, and if the need arises, go further down the line to, a professional who does them more often.
okay,
Maybe stating a minimum charge of such and such if it's done internally.
it would still be a fee, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, you got it. Bob, you have a code, or is it,
I have something.
yeah, okay, have you been sick long, or?
It's been going on a little while.
Is it COVID Omega?
Oh my God.
It is, you should be wearing a mask. Okay, next one.
Hey, folks, but Dave, before you move on, I do have
Yep.
to run, so I'm gonna sign off. Everybody have a good night.
You
Thank
too.
Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Thanks.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, talk to you soon.
Yep, bye-bye. All right, so Barb, we're done with this sheet, right?
Not really. Direct Connect, I would like to get in there. If you recall, we had an issue with a Fitchburg customer who had connected directly with Fitchburg, and we were uninformed. We got the language, excuse me, into the IMA for that, but we've never incorporated it into the regs. So this is just an opportunity to put in there that you got to contact town of Lunenburg even if you're connecting directly with Fitchburg. That's all. I just want to
Yeah.
get that.
Absolutely, put that in. That's a good point.
And then it goes down on that, and we're all set. Easements, monitoring and inspection. There's a line in our bylaw that says must conform to monitoring and inspection procedures sheet, something like that. It was when we, so much of, I mean, because our sewer commission is, our department is new, regulations were new, when we were coming up with things like the extension, we were borrowing other people's documents, and I remember this one line, and it was planning board had provided something, and it was a document that they based something on. We've carried it, but we've never implemented it, and I just want that removed. It's just, it's moot. It doesn't apply to anything that we have in place. So it's just an item. Again, like I said, when I come across things, I just throw them in a file. This is one of them I would like to just get out of there.
Wasn't that brought up when we were talking about the pump stations and we were going through the, what were we going through, Mike? Remember? The monitoring, I forgot what they called it. Was that brought up then? We used to have
I
a
don't,
form- we used to have a form in the pump stations, they would have to monitor and inspect it and sign it.
Oh, no, it's more like a fee schedule. Let me read it for you.
No, if you're saying get rid of it, don't waste your time, just get rid of it.
Section 4 of the sewer extensions. And it's under, so owners of parcels located within a SSA and, prior to granting approval. Third paragraph, all development and construction shall be monitored in accordance with the monitoring and inspection procedures and fee system of the Lunenburg Sewer Commission. There is no such document in place. We have sewer regs, and that's really what we go by. So it's just, it was a document that did not ever come to fruition.
Again, I would recommend that we get rid of it, but once we're done tonight, you're gonna pass all this along to Adam Costa anyways, right? Tell him that this is what the
Right.
committee doing. Okay.
I have council hours with him. I'll bring it to him then on the 24th,
Okay.
and then he'll work on it.
All right, so any discussion on this, John?
No, I mean, it sounds like it was something that was inserted in there. That really is irrelevant.
Yeah,
So I would say it might be time to get rid of it.
okay. Mike? No,
in Bob, I trust.
Mike D?
Thanks, Mike.
I agree. If it's not in there, then let's get rid of it.
Okay, and I also agree. Bob, you want to vote on that or just you want to get rid of it?
Sure.
Oops, what did I do? Hold on.
Section 4.0 of the sewer district bylaw.
Okay, looking for a,
I make a motion that we get rid of section 4.0 of the sewer bylaw.
The third paragraph, sorry, of section 4.
Okay, I amend my motion to be section 4, paragraph 3, did you say?
Yes.
To be removed from the bylaws.
for a second.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor, John?
I,
Mike,
Aye.
Mike D,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, Barb, what else? I think we got everything on this thing.
Oh, I know, but we're not. The last paragraph in the entire bylaws, section 9. The sewer commission will establish a draft of proposed changes during regular posted open meetings. Once there's consensus on the proposed changes, a formal hearing will be scheduled and will take place over 2 regularly scheduled meetings. Both hearings will be televised. Notice of the hearing will be put in the newspaper at least 5 days prior to the hearing. And then it goes on to talk about continuing the hearing. But this was a thing Carl Leck had pushed for, and it's come at times to be an inconvenience to have, and especially if we're back to in-person meetings, because it spans a change that we're trying to get through over you have to wait 2 months. So I would just propose to go back to just one one meeting and it has to be it used to be, it's required by the state to be posted twice in a newspaper, but only having to hold one hearing. And that's how we used to do it, in case you're trying to get something done quick, not quickly, but you don't need to span it over 2 months worth. 'Cause we
Yeah,
don't meet.
if you're looking for comment, Dave, I supported this at the time, but kind of regret it
Yeah,
because it delays things. It's time consuming, and I don't know that it really makes any difference as to the participation of the general public.
I'm glad you said that, John. Barb and I talked about this, I think was it last week, Barb? And anything we can do to cut red tape, that's not necessary. I'm all for. But the only thing I gotta say is that as long as it falls within the guidelines of what we're trying to do, but to wait someone for 2 months to do something is that's not good business. Not only that, to take up their time and money, it takes up our time as well. So I agree with what you just said, John. And I don't know when that was instituted, by the way. Because
Probably 4 years ago,
yeah,
5 years ago.
that I wouldn't have gone along with that one. But anyways, Mike, no,
Streamline it.
Mike D.
Yep, exactly. Streamline it.
Do you want to vote on that?
No, let me, I want to go to council on that and just make sure we get what is required. So let me,
Let council, just because we're voting on this doesn't mean that we're right. That's what you're gonna sit down with Adam and go through each one. So.
okay, because my notes had said only one, and that it didn't have to be that it didn't have to be televised. And I don't think it has to be, because I mean, not all of our meetings are televised, as long as it's posted and always open to the public, which they are. I think it's okay, but it's whether you want to leave in the televised or if it just is, you want to do it within one meeting with posting twice.
Well,
I
you know,
don't
in the old days, televised meant just televised. It wasn't Zoom. So whether it was televised or not, I'm not sure that really adds anything to it.
Right.
I think, John, back in the old days, if you had a televised meeting and for some reason didn't have a quorum or somebody canceled the meeting, then that would go to another month. You know what I mean?
Right.
But what I'm thinking about doing, and I gotta bounce off you guys, is how do we fix these so-called televised meetings? And as you know, the government put in the restrictions that we have to be back at meetings. I think is it April 1st, Bob, or it's coming up anyways, when the Zoom meetings are no longer gonna be part of the system. But I think what they're gonna be doing is continuing the Zoom process, which means that we can have our meeting on Zoom when we're not in the studio, and in the studio still have Zoom for the audience. And that's something I'm looking into, Barb, just so you know. So I think the participation has been great throughout the town. I think PAC TV has opened up, and YouTube, by the way, opened up a whole new avenue for people to get involved. And when this goes back to normal, I really like the idea of people staying home and watching. So that's something to think about that we're trying to do.
I just want to throw this out. Maybe it's inappropriate. I don't know, but when we go back to public meetings, is it only going to be for those who are fully vaccinated?
You have to follow whatever the new CDC guidelines are at that time. I think we have another few weeks of Zoom meet, maybe another 2 more meetings on Zoom, Barb. I don't know what the guidelines are going to be. I know you're required to wear a mask at the town hall. But I also know that a lot of places are now dropping that policy that you see on the news every night. So I would say do what you feel is good for you, and I'm hoping everybody got vaccinated. But I know that you're more than welcome to wear a mask and whatever you got to do to feel safe. And I still in favor if you want to stay home and do it. I don't know why we can't. If you remember, John, back in the old days, they had this thing called remote participation.
Right.
You can't get any more remote than this. So that's something we got to look at.
The remote participation had some pretty strict guidelines, if I remember correctly.
It does, but it's a lot easier now with Zoom, and I don't know if you've been down to a selectmen's meeting, or you can watch tonight, actually. But, you know, they have the camera right there. You're sitting, and there's a big 70-inch screen TV with everybody from home participating, so. You know, I can't answer that question. So I'm hoping that we get together soon. I do miss you guys and doing this in person. And you gotta remember, we got this whole hearing aid thing set up at the town site, and I hope we get a chance to use that as well. And I hope the public uses it. But we haven't used it since we got it instituted, so hopefully that works out. Okay, Barb, what else you got?
Okay. The SSA, if you recall, when we had the 5 Chestnut issue come before the board last year,
Yep.
and Paula had questioned by recommending at town meeting for the expansion of the SSA, that the commission was tacitly agreeing to any project before them, and council had come back referring to several places where it doesn't. And I had asked them, and I had never received it, so I did follow up just a day or so ago to try to have them send me a clause that will just say, you know, the commission's recommendation for expansion of the SSA is not to be confused with, basically, an approval of the project not yet specified or whatever. So I haven't gotten the verbiage yet. I was hoping I'd have it, but we don't have it yet. But that's out there.
Nope,
Just
I
trying to
like
make
that.
that clear.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's if someone comes to us and they're sort of seeking our advice whether they should go forward or not, and we can say yes, but there's no guarantee. It's an awkward situation for the sewer commission to be in, that's all.
Can't agree with you more, John. And if I remember that night, that was a hell of a night too. So, I mean, it'd be good to clarify that for the commission, in the
Yeah.
future. Not only for us, but for the future commissions as well.
Right. And council was very clear on how it protect, like there was already verbiage saying that, you know, the commission has to review a project again, but I just asked for clarification in that sewer service expansion area. So,
There's gonna be a lot of them coming up. I see a lot of development going on, so it's gonna be coming up again for sure. Okay,
all right. And the other was, again, something that council had brought up that I don't remember, a couple council hours ago, Adam actually said, well, it doesn't ever say in any of your regulations that the commission has the power to amend them. So we want to get that in there too.
absolutely. Let's get that in.
That'd be good.
So he has provided the verbiage for that. I just need to know where he wants it put. So, so these are just items that have been out there for being incorporated into our regs for a while and our bylaws. So,
Okay,
right.
get that screen off. Anybody have any questions on the screen before it goes bye-bye? Okay, let's get rid of that, Barb. But please, Barb, send that email you sent to us out to everybody so they have that same worksheet.
Sure. And I
guys,
haven't completed it yet. I was starting to do on pages, and so it was just whatever.
Okay,
I'll send it out as is.
so now we're up to the annual town meeting warrant. The warrants will be on the agenda for, now we can talk about it. I'd rather talk about the next meeting on the 25th. The deadline is
Right,
March
on
25th.
22nd. Right, I'm not ready with the verbiage at all. I'm just confirming that what I need to work on and what should be on the agenda next meeting, not the 15th, but the 22nd, is that we would be including our normal three, sorry, I'm trying to find it. There we are. Our normal 3 budget articles, the appropriations for FY23, the transfer that we've done in the past to capital reserve, and then the OPEB transfer. And then we would have one, I believe, and I am checking this with council also, but that we will have one article for the sewer use regulations and one for the bylaw changes, because bylaw changes do have to go on to the state. So it should be its own article.
Yep.
So at this point, I have 5 that the sewer commission would be putting through. Although OPEB, a lot of times, that's the one with the retirement fund that we just keep putting something into because the town needs that. That was incorporated into the town's general budget article as well. So it may be only 4 articles.
Do we have a deadline? I'm looking at the deadlines here for when we have to make our presentation to the finance committee.
Our warrant articles have to be in on the 21st, and our presentation to FinCom is on the 24th.
Of March.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we still have a little ways.
Yep. Okay, any questions on town warrant? We do have some things that we're actually, this is a good year for all of us to look COVID in the past and tighten up on some of our regs going future and make it easier for future commissions. Okay, Bob, what else you got? I
All
think we
right.
talked about everything else in that one, right?
Yep.
Grease trap compliance.
A&D Crossroads. This is the grease interceptor that is out back of the Crossroads Plaza. They have pumped it out. So that concern, is to the side. It's the compliance thing. We've never gotten the report. It was escalated at the time. I mean, I tried to get it in the fall. I think the pump out was done in July. I had tried several times to get the report. We went through the Vittler's list licensing, and I brought it up to the select board at that time that was outstanding, and it wasn't enough for them to pull a license for. I just so in order to get the owner to move, I just would like to start the non-compliance process. I can send out a letter saying you have 30 days. If we don't get it, it'll be $50. And then after 30 days, we'll start $25 a day if we don't get the report. Either that or do nothing, up to you guys.
How big is that tank? Was that the wrong size tank to begin with? Is that the one?
They put it, well, the one, yes, but it was replaced with an appropriate size
Yeah,
tank.
that's the one where the current owner bought the property. And I think he assumed that since the property had been approved and the design had been approved before he ever bought the property, that he shouldn't have to pay the exorbitant charges that we were going to levy on him. Because it had been approved by, I think, the Board of Health, the Sewer Commission, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it was a little teeny tiny grease trap for 2 very greasy restaurants.
Yeah, again, I wasn't on the commission, but I know.
Right, right. And it ultimately, the fees got up pretty high, Barbara, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And we ended up waiving most of that. But here's an example where Barbara's going to have to take her time and maybe some of Rob's time to get this resolved.
Well, like I say, if you start sending over bills, you'd be surprised how fast. And let me know, I have experience talking with landlords about this kind of stuff too. So I have no problem talking to the landlord on this. But
I just think if I just keep asking, it means nothing. If I start saying you're going to pay me money, it'll change things.
well, that's, I think Mike brought up, you're in compliance. Why are we in compliance? Because you're charging these guys. They don't want to pay. I don't blame them. I would be in compliance too. But okay, what else you got?
Can I get your approval to start non-compliance process?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, do you need a vote on it?
You want to vote?
Yes, please.
Okay, need a motion.
So motion.
Looking for a second.
I second.
Any more discussion on it? All in favor, John Reynolds.
Aye.
Mike Knopf,
Aye.
Mike Devakis,
Aye.
and I for myself. Go get him, Burke.
All righty, thank you. All right. Search for the assistant business manager. Once we got it into the Mass MMA website, we've had a bit more of a flurry of applications. We had 3 interviews yesterday. And some good candidates. So Julie's checking references. Hopefully we'll have an update for the next meeting.
You're involved in the hiring process too? You interviewing the people?
So far, yes.
Wonderful.
Barbara, only hire someone in your image, please.
Please, no.
We'll put a picture of her on a camera like every meeting. One
I'm
question.
talking about her work ethic and all that stuff.
Good.
Going back to the grease trap thing, which I hate saying, but you have on there escalating at licensing time with select board / no response.
Like I said, that was part of the Viddler's licensing that they do every year, issuing licenses for alcohol. It was, and Elaine had provided me the laws basically that run that. And it's really whether there's issues with the tax collection. So she was not justified in holding or pulling licenses. And I wasn't in favor of that either, because the pump out had been done. So, that's all. But a lot of times just the mention from the select board that you've got something outstanding, it's been very useful. And it has gotten us what we've been waiting on. So it was an attempt to try to get it from this landlord, and now we're ready for non-compliance. So
I'm surprised that's not on there. Maybe I should call the select board. This is a municipality, and if they're not paying their bills before they get a license, all bills should be paid, including municipality bills.
right. It's not that they're not paying their bills. That's the issue. The bills are paid.
They're not reporting what they actually did. That's the issue.
So do you
Had
want
it
to?
pumped.
Yeah, okay.
It's
So
just a
is there any-
report. It's paper. I'm looking for the right report, not an invoice that they
Okay,
had. So
gotcha.
Look,
Okay,
my comment here is I think Mike Nault's ready for us to move on past grease traps.
yeah, not just Mike, trust me.
all right, annual report. We received it last meeting. Is it all right? I'd
Did
like to
everybody
get
read the annual report?
I read 75% of it. So, and I'm going to assume that the last 25% is fine.
Anybody read 100%?
Yeah, I did a couple times actually. Okay, any questions on this? Okay,
This
Mike,
has to be submitted this week, so
Mike, you have to leave the meeting.
Yeah, I've got to run. I got a customer that's down right now.
Okay, thank you. Anything? See ya.
Okay.
Oh, go handle your customer. Go
See you,
handle-
Mike.
All right. Night,
Yeah.
everybody.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
thanks, Mike,
Take care. Barbara, hope you feel better.
thank you.
Okay, the only question I had was the second paragraph, Jane. It says the 5-member sewer commission was originally established at a special town meeting on May 6, 2006. As of 7/1/20, the commission consisted of, but you brought up everything, the members who were there and stuff. Was there a reason for that? Or you're just trying to explain that there was COVID going on? Anybody have questions on that? Or-
What was your question?
Your second paragraph,
Yeah.
it's kind of like stuck out of place. I
Oh, why?
I don't know what you're trying to say there. That we did our meetings on COVID, or you want to say goodbye to Carl? I couldn't figure out what you're trying to say.
No, just that first line has been in it every year when they started it. When they started the commission. And then I just wrote down at the beginning of the FY21 who was on the board. And
No,
that the
I'm just saying
meetings are
that-
done virtually.
You have as of 7/1/20, that's all. It just didn't make sense to me, but
Well, that's because that was the beginning of FY21.
Right.
Just to state who was on it at that point.
anybody have any questions on the report? Otherwise, it's a great job. Just didn't understand that part. Mike?
No, I'm good.
John?
I'm fine with it.
Bob, when does it got to be turned in? I saw an
It
email.
has to be
today.
this week.
Yeah,
Have
so
to turn it in by Thursday night.
I saw an email from Heather. We all got an email today.
So it needs to be approved tonight, honestly, or edited, and trust us that we'll make the changes.
So I read it. I have no problem with it. I just didn't understand that part of it, but I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it.
Someone
This
wanna
is
make
just
a
something
motion
we
to
need to
approve?
vote on, is it?
Well,
Yes, please.
Mike is still looking at it.
No, I'm just listening along here.
Okay.
All good.
So I'm looking for a motion to accept the sewer commission report.
No motion.
Second,
I'll second that.
no more discussion. All in favor, Mike,
Aye.
John,
I'm,
I for myself, and Jane, thank you for doing such a great job. You make us all look good.
And that's not easy, Jane.
And you know what? And I apologize. There is one, I have one note. I just saw as I scrolled down. There was a typo on paragraph 6. 1, 2,
Too late,
3,
Barbara.
4. Too late. It's just, it won't change any essence of the discussion. 1, 2, 3.
where is the typo?
It's in paragraph 6 and the 6th line down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over to the right, it says specifics projects. And we're just gonna change it, take out that S.
Oh, specific
Oh.
projects. Yeah, you should. That made us all look like crap. Thanks.
I
a lot.
know.
Yeah, the only question,
Barbara, you knew that ahead of time. You were just testing us.
Testing us, that's right.
Yeah,
Threw it
that's
in.
right. Nobody caught it.
I was
Throw
going
it
for
in, keep us
content, not
honest.
grammar.
No,
Right.
actually, Jane had pointed it out, and I had notes on my notes, but I didn't scroll down far enough, so I apologize. So I am going to assume that the minutes are accepted with that correction. How's that?
and with this comment, I need you to check the second page, the last paragraph, to make sure all those numbers are correct.
Second page, last paragraph?
Yeah, at the 5/1/21 town meeting, the commission put forward 3 articles. I just like you to make sure that those numbers are correct.
Oh, yeah. No, Jane sends it to me and then I plug in the numbers.
Okay.
That is mirrors the articles that were presented and accepted.
A lot of numbers there, that's all. Okay. Next one, the annual report, we got minutes for 1/25.
Yes, and we have just enough of the members that were present to review it.
Do it.
Looking for a motion to accept the minutes from 1/25.
So motioned.
Second,
I'll second.
any discussion? Seeing none.
Wait, Barbara, do you have anything surprises you want to spring on us with this?
You didn't catch anything?
Once we approve
No.
it, she'll come back with something. Oh, by the way,
Nope.
okay, looking for a roll call vote. John,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
and I for myself. Next one is business manager report. Rob, what do you have without losing your voice?
Up the Upland Eastern White Street Extension Project. The contract has been sent out to Wright Pierce. They are coming in to meet with us, with Rob and I on Friday, just to go over what their plan of attack is. They're starting the ledge borings on the 14th, so next Monday.
Okay.
So just so you know we're moving ahead with it.
The results of this are going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
The suspense is killing me.
The
Go ahead,
The
Bob.
Fitchburg Sewer Use Ordinance, it was on here in case I had heard back. I have not heard. I had sent it off to Fitchburg for review, and have no response as of yet.
Okay, we're pretty close to putting that to bed, I would think, right?
Yeah, as long as they're okay with what we return to them. But that's why we're working on policies while they're doing that. And then hopefully we'll be all neat and tidy for annual meeting and get it all approved.
Okay,
And then the grease trap first Tuesday is the only one I'm missing for January's is just one establishment, which I will now bother. And that's it.
What kind of
Um,
food do they serve?
Fried food.
okay.
That narrows it down.
Right. And then I have no invoices actually for this meeting. Nothing has come in.
Okay,
And that is all I have.
any action items from anybody? Okay, I'm looking for any public comment from the public, seeing none. Bob, is there anybody there?
Let me look. I don't see any. Nope. Nope.
Any public comment from the board? John?
Oh,
Mike?
Nope.
Only public comment I have is don't forget tomorrow's pancake breakfast at the senior center at 8 o'clock. So I hope everybody gets a chance and go out and have a nice breakfast. Upcoming sewer schedule and activities. We just threw a meeting in on February 15th, and are we going to keep that at 6 o'clock, or do you guys want to do earlier?
on February 15th. Hold on, let me look here.
Next Tuesday about budget only.
Right, right. I can do it earlier if the group wants.
We got to post that by what, Monday, Friday?
Thursday.
Thursday.
How about Brett? Is he still under time constraints?
I don't know. He just had a meeting tonight, but you know what? Could you send an email out to everybody tomorrow and see if 5 or 5:30 works on next Tuesday? Or 6.
Okay.
I anticipate that to be at least an hour meeting. And hopefully we'll get all the updates and get that squared away. I'm more concerned about getting a presentation for the finance committee and talk about if there's going to be any increases and stuff.
So I'll bring this up again. We're not required to make a presentation before the finance committee, correct?
You know what? I was told to be there at a certain time. Yeah, we requested.
Requested, okay. Okay. Barbara, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, I know. But we're asked to contribute every year.
Okay.
I mean, last presentation was pretty good, I thought.
No, it's
Yeah,
very
it
good.
was, absolutely. You guys did a great job.
No,
Team
this
effort,
was-
man. Team effort, man. Okay, the upcoming schedule for the sewer commission activity will be next, the 15th, next Tuesday, time to be determined. One after that will be February 28th, 6 o'clock, regular meeting, remote participation.
February 22nd.
22nd.
22nd. And the next one will be March 8th at 6 PM, and that would be the regular meeting by remote. And by then, John, we should have an update on what's going on with COVID and all that good stuff, and where the state is on what they're doing.
We all know we didn't have to isolate, right?
We can do that. You got to sit in a little plastic booth. Hey, duck, you got some duck there behind you, duck. Okay, any other questions? I'm looking for a motion.
This is my basement. This is my office.
It's nice, looks big, cozy. Is it
It is
warm?
pretty big. Yeah, I have heat down here.
There's no echo, so that's nice.
It's insulated with foam, the spray foam. So it's nice and quiet.
It's a nice house. It looks good. Every time I drive by, I see it. I see the house. Very nice job. It's good in the neighborhood.
I just wish I could have moved it back 100 feet. But that would have taken an act of God in the planning board.
Okay. All right, anything else? I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, John,
I
Mike,
Aye.
and I for myself. Bob, I'm sorry you're feeling awful here, and I'm sorry that we got a little bit of late start, but we got it done, so.
Yeah, Barb, you taking the rest of the week off?
Yeah, right.
Oh, Jane's there. Jane will cover for you. Right, Jane?
Jane?
Feel better, Bob. Feel better.
Thank
And
you.
good night, Lunenburg.
Night.
Good night, everybody. Take care.
Night.
Bye-bye.